So what made you sought after this fight with Canelo?
Canelo's a great fighter. You know, he's respected. I'm a fan of Canelo. And like I said before, Canelo is the last of the great fighters that's available to fight. Canelo's at 168. It's a big task, but I'm always up for it. Big risk, big reward. And I want to be the first ever boxer to be a three-weight undisputed world champion.
Talk to me about like the business of this fight, because it's live on Netflix. This is your first time fighting on Netflix?
Right.
How does this fight come together as opposed to like typical fights that you've had in the past?
Well, it's all the same. You know, at the end of the day, you got the promotion, you got the network coming out, and they shooting you, and they promoting the fight. It's just, you know, on a different network.
This is the best fight in boxing, bar none. You know, we've got two of the best fighters in the world, and Terence Crawford trying to do what no other's done before, a four division world champion, and, you know, jumping up from light middleweight now to super middle, trying to achieve the unachievable against Canelo Alvarez, who is pound for pound. Can he do it? I think he can. I think that this guy creates history. Terence Crawford.
It was Spencer Oliver who warned Canelo that he was facing the biggest problem of his career. He thinks that Terence Crawford is interested in history and is going into dangerous territory where tales are made or broken. Even Eddie Hearn, a manager who used to back Canelo, is now starting to change his mind and back Crawford. He added, "I think if Terence Crawford decides to box elusively in this fight, I think he's going to really have success." Just by that word, we can see that Crawford is very dangerous. If a seasoned marketer like Hearn sees Canelo having trouble with that sneaky, evasive move, it's not just hype, it's a warning. Canelo will have to spend the whole night chasing shadows because Crawford can turn this fight into a nightmare. Someone who used to back Canelo's change of heart says a lot and shows that the unthinkable is getting closer to happening. Eddie Hearn made the fight seem like more than just a fight. He focused right away on the most important issue at hand, the weight, even though it was a meeting of two stars near the end of their careers.
Great fight. I mean, it's two guys that are coming towards the back end of their careers, but two legends, pound for pound legends of the sport. A fascinating fight between two guys with tremendous ring IQ. I guess the big conversation is how the weight will affect Bud and how he will respond to the size. You know, we got a situation where in Los Angeles, Crawford didn't look that big against the 154. In fact, I thought Madrimov looked the bigger, the stronger guy in that fight. I thought it was a very, very close fight, that fight. Now you're going up two divisions at 168 for Canelo Alvarez, who is, you know, a pound for pound legend of the sport. Against Skull, he didn't look great. You know, the movement didn't look great. I didn't think his legs looked fantastic.
Hearn told the crowd, Crawford didn't even look that big at 154, and now he's jumping to 168 against one of the sport's strongest champions. That physical jump was the final test of how far he could go. Hearn did say, though, that Crawford's greatness often goes beyond logic. This fight will show if skill alone is enough to beat size. Hearn then brought up the real threat, what Crawford does when the super middleweight fight starts. He said, "That's the real $1 million factor."
It's hit, that's really the $1 million question. How can he hang at 168? When you spend time with both of them, they're both so confident, you actually can't see him losing. Bud talks a brilliant game, and he's walked the walk continuously, and he has probably the best boxing IQ in the game. I probably, and you know, Canelo's my guy, but I probably lean slightly.
Hearn says that both boxers are so sure of themselves that it's hard to picture either one losing. He leaned over to Crawford, though, and told him how smart and flexible he was. Hearn said that even though he has always admired Canelo, the odds are slightly in favor of Bud. People have a lot of respect for Crawford now that this unusual fact has come out. Hearn agreed with what most of the fans said. Canelo didn't stop there, even though he was the clear favorite.
I think that Canelo will be a favourite going in, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Crawford could do it.
In the same line, Hearn said that an upset would not surprise him at all. Before Crawford even steps into the ring, He has already shown that names and odds don't matter. Fans aren't what the fight for Hearn is all about. The question is whether Crawford can change boxing by making what people believe happen. These comments make Crawford even more of the sport's most dangerous outsider. Hearn also helped Canelo lose to Dimitri Bivol, which is a fight that still worries him. It was the model that Crawford could use, he said.
Really interested. I think Bivol really did set the blueprint of how to beat Canelo Alvarez. You know, what you do is you're slick, but you throw punches in bunches, you move into range, bomb, 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 out of range. You do it again, because Canelo's not that active. He doesn't throw a lot of punches. And he hates movement, hates it. Crawford's got, Crawford, to be honest, Crawford's got to probably make it a little bit of a sting.
Hearn says, Divil's smooth movements, heavy blows, and steady pace let Canelo down. It's something Crawford does very well. If he makes Canelo run, he's in charge of the fight. It was clear what Hearn was trying to say. If Crawford hasn't changed since that loss, he will lead Canelo into the same mistake. In this fight, Canelo will show how well he can learn from his mistakes. Hearn said that the first rounds are very important. He thinks that Crawford is ready to take the lead right away.
You just got to go in there and just win rounds. And I think Crawford will win rounds in those fights.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Especially the early rounds. So Canelo may have to do something and try, because he's not that active. I don't think he really wants to work that.
Hearn thinks that Crawford will win rounds before Canelo can calm down because of his speed and accuracy. When a fighter like Canelo has to play catch-up, the stress rises quickly. In the end, Hearn decided that Canelo might have to deal with time and momentum issues, but gets ahead early. The story of the fight might be told in the first few rounds. Sergio Mora, an American fighter, also spoke, pointing out how Crawford's change in appearance is changing the story of the fight. He said that how someone looks might matter just as much as their skills outside of the fight.
Crawford is a smaller fighter, but the more this fight goes, it's more 50-50, and more people are starting to respect this man because he's been posting social media. He looks bigger. He looks like a muscular fighter, not like an out-of-shape lightweight or welterweight coming up in weight. He looks like a legitimate, muscular, middleweight type fighter. I love the fact that he's actually marketing himself, getting great sparring, the running, the videos, and just, he looks like a beast, man. So I love everything he's doing to promote this fight and to show everyone I'm not the smaller man here. It's going to be an equal-sized fight when it comes to physical.
Mora said that Crawford's natural welterweight build had made his critics quiet. The training pictures, sparring videos, and raw body all send a strong message. Given his size, he won't step in. This new point of view makes the idea that the fight is now being fought on equal terms stronger. Mora thinks that Crawford's body and mind are already ready for fight, which makes this matchup a lot more unpredictable. Sergio Mora worked even harder to change Crawford. This time, the main attention was on the athletic side of his weight gain. He made it clear that Crawford's size isn't just for looks. It works well and is strong.
But he's an athletic fighter. I mean, he has a wrestling background. I think he put on the right muscle. He's not soft in the midsection. You could tell that he still carries that muscle right. It's like whenever you do go up in weight and you see the muscle around the shoulders and the biceps and the back, that's when you're like, wow, okay, this is impressive. You see him deadlifting. He's a strong fighter, and he did it the right way. Just like Roy Jones Jr. when we went to heavyweight. He didn't look heavy. He looked just as muscular, only he did it, the muscle were in the right proportion places. I think Bud looks the exact same.
Mora said that Crawford's new muscle looks natural, balanced, and ready for battle. From his shoulders to his back, his whole body now looks strong. In fact, Mora seemed to say that Crawford's change is an exact copy of Roy Jones Jr.'s famous weight gain. Because of this similarity, what's coming up is more important, but is in very good company. Chris Manx also said what he thought and said that Crawford hasn't been rushing or not paying attention to his training. He stressed that everything they have done has been part of a bigger plan to help Canelo Alvarez.
Looks physically spectacular. He clearly has put on the weight in the right way. And this is not the case of a guy having a couple of months to get up to 168 pounds. He has basically been preparing for this moment for the better part of a year. Like, he knew that it was Canelo Alvarez or bust. So he's going to come in, I think, looking strong.
Manic said that Crawford's body looks like it belongs because the shift up was carefully planned. This wasn't just jumping the gun at the last minute. The mission went on for a whole year. Each camp, lift, and run is made to handle the size and speed of 168. With that much devotion, it's clear that Crawford isn't there to test himself. He wants to win. And a lot of history is written when desire and preparation meet. Spencer Oliver also told fans of how Crawford was different from him at welterweight, but doesn't just belong in the division. He is one of the best people ever.
So I've always said it, I think that he lives with any welterweight. His best weight really has been at welterweight. He lives with any welterweight in any division for me, and that's including all the greats. You know, you're going back to your Roberto Durans, Sugar Ray Leonards, all those guys. I think that he is that good. And we find out in September. It's going to be fantastic.
Oliver said that Crawford's skills will always be useful and put his name up there with Duran and Leonard. The fact that such a strong and unusual link exists shows how much respect Crawford has. It's not just another September fight. It's a test to see where Crawford fits in the history of fighting. From what Oliver has said, it's clear that brilliance is being put to the final test. The result could change Crawford's place in the argument about whether or not he is immortal in boxing. Oliver then turned his attention to the fight itself and predicted the kind of conflict that people will see. He thinks both men are too good at what they do to give up.
In the belief that Crawford will beat Alvarez. And I'd like to see him beat Alvarez, quite frankly.
I mean, a joint 70 knockouts in their careers.
They're incredible.
Is this going to go the distance?
Insanely, I think it will. I think because they're both technically that good and they're both very durable. That's how they become the superstars of the sport of today. You know, they both can take a shot. They both mix it up. They'll both sit in the pocket. You're going to have excitement for sure because they will both go for it. They're both spiteful, very heavy-handed, but I think they both here to fight.
He talked about how strong, tough, and able to deal they were. That mix ensures fireworks from the opening bell, he stated. This fight is so tough because neither man gives up. For Oliver, it doesn't matter if there is trouble. It has to do with how long they can handle it. It was clear what he thought. We aren't going to end this fight early. The plan is for it to last. By the time the last bell rings, fans will have seen a modern classic. Oliver broke down the night's most important chess game. Canelo's natural strength and size were different from Crawford's brains.
I think that Crawford's extra boxing IQ and the fact that he's moved up them weight divisions, who Canelo moved up from welterweight as well. He's gone through the weights as well. So when you look at them sizing up now, Crawford actually looks bigger than him right now, but Canelo's developed as a super middleweight. He's accustomed to being super middleweight now, whereas Crawford isn't. But I think that extra movement will be enough for Crawford, and I think he will be able to sit in the pocket when he has to against Alvarez. But be sure, this one will be a barnstormer.
He agreed with the idea that Canelo is an experienced super middleweight who is already used to the weight. But he also stressed Crawford's ability to move around, be flexible, and fight within the group when needed. Oliver says that extra bit of ring smarts could help but win the fight. He painted a scene of brute force and brains going up against each other. Oliver thinks that fans are ready for a barn fire that will define their careers because both men are built to entertain. This fight could make Canelo even more powerful or make Crawford even smarter. In a brave move, Simon Jordan admitted that this is the only thing that most people don't like about Crawford. Size might not be the most important thing. He insisted that now is the best time for Bud to fight Canelo.
The fascinating thing is that the difficulty that most people would put to Terence Crawford is the size element of things. But I think if he's going to fight Saul Alvarez, it's the right time to fight him now because we're seeing elements of decline in Alvarez. Okay, the dance partners has been forced to fight against William Skell didn't come to fight, did they?
No.
But Crawford, it'll be interesting to see how their styles gel and how the fight proceeds. But having watched Crawford like you have done from the moment he landed on his shores to deal with Ricky Burns all those years ago to the manner in which he dismantled Errol Spence and stepping up the weight classes, I'm in Spencer's camp. We're both in the same position, aligned, foolishly together perhaps, in the belief that Crawford will beat Al.
Jordan stated that Crawford's chances are best right now because Canelo is beginning to show signs of getting worse. He remembered Crawford's rise from the night he crossed the Atlantic to fight Ricky Burns to the night he destroyed Errol Spence so badly. That trip through the divisions has made a boxer ready for the impossible. While Jordan was still sure that Crawford had the skills to beat Canelo, he chose to support Spencer Oliver. He also said that it wasn't just research, it was a statement of faith. Then Jordan used history to remind fans of the night Canelo lost to Dimitri Bivol at light heavyweight. It showed that even legendary winners can be beaten.
Canelo Alvarez take that journey up to light heavy and find himself coming up against Dimitri Bivol and not being able to do what he does at super middleweight. I just think that Crawford is such a fighter of such stature and competence that he might just be the kryptonite to solve.
I think about that moment a lot as Jordan fights this battle. He thinks that Crawford's skill, pose, and intelligence make him the kind of boxer who could easily beat Canelo. He thinks that bout is the very thing that could make Canelo lose his confidence. From this point of view, it looks like this fight is about more than just a title. Legacy is in question. Also, if Jordan is right, boxing could be about to have its next big shakeup. Tony Bellows spoke out right away about what he thought about the Canelo versus Crawford fight. It's clear that one person will win this fight. Even so, I still think Crawford wins, and I still think he does it easily. Bellows' belief was important. This was not a random prediction. It was a strong message. In his opinion, Canelo is too weak to beat Crawford's skill level. Others focus on size and strength, but Bellows stresses ring smarts, timing, and flexibility. His confidence adds another strong voice that leans toward Crawford. Warriors too sound so sure of themselves are heard by fans. Belief fought Canelo's decision to turn down Crawford's record, especially when it came to top opponents. He talked about a clear victory that everyone would remember.
I was watching them in a press conference and I seen Canelo saying, name me one elite fighter you've beaten. He kept saying, just one elite fighter. As everyone forgot about the Errol Spence win. Because for me, the Errol Spence win was an elite win. Errol Spence was reigning and dominant in the welterweight division, was beating everybody. And he went in there and beat Errol Spence up. So there's the first elite win that he's got. And if you look at these two fighters, there isn't that much size difference. Okay, the weight will be a bit different, but these fighters have been going through weight divisions quite similar. You know, Canelo started at 10 stone, goes to from light welterweight to welterweight to light middleweight. We've all seen the rise of Canelo. People are making out like Canelo is a fully fledged light heavyweight or a fully fledged super middleweight.
He's been up and down.
This guy has been through the...
According to Bellows, the performance by Errol Spence closed any doubts about Crawford's skills. That win over a tough welterweight king who was at the top of his game was truly amazing. He also made it clear that Canelo and Crawford's paths through the weight class are similar. The word from Bellows was clear: size doesn't always mean what it seems. There is a fight between two guys who had been on the same row. He sees Crawford standing tall on that edge. Delay asked fans why they treat Canelo like he's the biggest boxer in the division, which brought up the endless talk about size.
This guy, okay, at the moment, he's the undisputed unified super middleweight champion. Is he the biggest super middleweight out there? Absolutely not, no. Is he even the biggest middleweight out there? No. So why is it when Terence Crawford goes in with him, and Terence Crawford's fought now at light middleweight, Madrimov, I think he'd be for one of the titles. So he's got to win over a big light middleweight, and he's got to win over an elite welterweight, a division that Canelo was at not so long ago. I just think people are writing him off because of the size factor. Canelo is the stronger man, there's no...
Even though Canelo is the undisputed super middleweight king, he made it clear that he is not the biggest man in the weight class. According to Bellows, the real gap between them is being lied about. Even though Canelo looks bigger and hits harder, that doesn't mean he will win. Bellows made it clear that Crawford had beaten bigger opponents before, but size is the only reason boxing fans think less of him, and he thinks that they have paid a high price for it. Bellows went on to say that boxing would be a dull sport if all you needed to do to win was be big and strong. He instead talked about decline, styles, and adaptability.
If the biggest and the strongest man always won boxing matches, it'd be boring, wouldn't it?
It would be, exactly.
And we'd stop watching.
Don't forget that Canelo struggled against southpaws as well in the past, and
Bud's not consistently always a southpaw. He switches back and forth. He's got so many different facets to his style. He's an unbelievably talented fighter. I just think he'll be too much, and I also do think Canelo's not what he wants.
He told his fans that Crawford is a scary opponent because he hits with both hands, and Canelo has had trouble in the past against smooth southpaws. Being able to choose is just as important to Bellows as having power, but has all of them. The way he fights has changed, in his opinion, that the rival is more likely to win. Even though Crawford is smarter than ever, Bellows said, he thinks that Crawford's many levels of skill will be too much for Alvarez. Bellows talked about how the last parts of the battle would go. After a while, he thinks the truth will come out.
It will possibly go to the judges' scorecard, but Canelo will be going for the stoppage.
Yeah.
Once this gets past 8 rounds, Canelo's going to fear the cards.
Those
because
championship rounds will be exciting, won't they?
Looking from the outside, looking in, you know, Canelo seems like he's got a bit of a bee in his bonnet that Turkey al-Sheikh is favouring Crawford.
Yeah.
You know, he's going on, oh, your daddy's this, and he's looking at that. And when you look into that, you're thinking in the back of his mind, he'd be like, I don't want to go to points here. I don't need to.
Got a point to prove now. Yeah, he wants. Maybe we're going for that late stoppage.
He thinks Canelo won't want to take the chance, but Crawford might take the fight to the judges. So that the scorecards don't get a hold of it, he sees Alvarez trying to get a late stoppage. Both guys were desperate to make a point, which could make the championship rounds exciting. Bellows said that Canelo's comments at news conferences already showed that he was under a lot of mental stress. He said that Canelo might make a dangerous bet because of the pressure, which is where Crawford can help. To use his own words, former world champion Shawn Porter said this fight was very close. This is the worst time for him to make a mistake.
Keep it real. You're right. This is a 50-50 fight. This is a fight where, as I was telling the Uber driver this morning, these guys, we've seen them both make mistakes in the ring, but they've never cost them, right? This is the first fight that I believe they both have are going to get in the ring where the small mistake is actually a big mistake against the opposer. So Canelo making a small mistake is actually a big mistake because Crawford actually has the ability to somehow know that that mistake is about to happen, and boom, there it is. Yeah. Canelo, on the other hand, Crawford hasn't been known to get hit, especially early in fights. And Canelo is the kind of guy where, you know, he's going to come out and let his hands go. He's going to find moments to let his hands go. But when he finds those moments, you can't be caught slipping. You can't be caught sleeping. You can't be caught in between. Do I go in? Do I go out? Make that small mistake against this guy right here. It becomes a monumental mistake. And that might be the last time you make a move that night. You know what I mean?
Porter made it clear that both Canelo and Crawford had made mistakes in the past, but they had never done so against a boxer who could fully benefit from it. This time, every slip could be fatal. He made it clear that Canelo's strength means that any mistake from Bud could be fatal, while Crawford's sharp senses let him take advantage of any chance. Porter's words made me think of a high-stakes game of chess where timing and skill are very important. He thinks this is more than just a disagreement over skills. When there is fire, the first person to blink wins. At the end of the day, one thing is clear. This fight is about more than just belts. Legacy is in question. Terence Crawford is going after history in a way that not many people would try. Canelo Alvarez, on the other hand, is fighting to show that he is still the undefeated super middleweight champion. In this battle of skill versus strength, youth versus knowledge, and accuracy versus strength, only one guy comes out with his story intact. Canelo is much stronger than Crawford, even though Crawford has the power to shock everyone. If you make one mistake, it could all be over in a moment. Still, I think we may be about to witness something that people will remember for a long time. But what do you think? Can Crawford beat Canelo in a tougher division? Or will Canelo's size and strength be too much for Crawford to handle in the end? Is this fight going to last a long time or end quickly and badly? Please say what you think in the place below for comments. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel so you can see more movies just like this one. The time is running out, and history is about to be made.